Welcome to Beyond Hormones, the Business of Wellness, the podcast for hormone and functional medicine providers who want a thriving, predictably profitable practice, and maybe a little less stress along the way. Hi, I'm your host, Jody Lane, and I've worked with lots of clinics in marketing, sales, and business development, and I have seen what works and what doesn't. And here's what I believe. Hormone and wellness care should be available to everyone who wants it. And while providers know the medicine, many struggle with the business side of their cash practice. And that's where I come in. See, this podcast is here to share real strategies, real stories, things you can implement in your practice right away. So I am so glad you're here. Come on, let's go. Before we jump into today's Fiverr, I want to tell you about the series these episodes are a part of. You see, for the next few months, and actually for the last few weeks, our Thursday episodes are a part of the Clinic Accelerator series, where we share short, practical strategies pulled directly from the courses we built that come inside the Accelerator, which is our training platform for hormone and wellness clinic owners. Everything we teach inside the Accelerator is built around our POWER framework. POWER stands for positioning, operations, workforce, experience, and revenue, the 5 areas that determine whether a clinic struggles or becomes predictably profitable. My name is Jody Lane, and this is the Beyond Hormones Business of Wellness podcast, where we talk about the business side of running your clinic, because great clinical care deserves a great business behind it. Today, we're kicking off a 2-part series on one of my favorite topics, which I do say a lot. And honestly, it's one of the most misunderstood ones in our space. We're talking about sales. And before you cringe or skip ahead or choose not to listen to this episode, I really want you to hear me on this. Sales is not a dirty word. Sales is a service. And if nobody in your clinic owns that process, not only are you leaving real money on the table, more importantly, you're leaving patients behind who truly need your help and didn't get it. I've seen this firsthand. I ran a clinic in Orlando and watched exactly how much changes when you stop expecting your front desk or your provider to handle sales on the fly and you actually put the right person in the right role. This first episode is for you, the clinic owner, the provider, the person who is making the hiring decisions. We're talking about why you need a dedicated patient liaison and what that role actually looks like and how to hire, onboard, and support them the right way. And then next Thursday, I am dropping part 2, which is designed for the person you hire. So once you find your person, send them to that episode. Or if you already have someone doing that role, go have them listen to it right now. Think of it as onboarding on demand. Now, this one's for you if you've ever watched a promising lead go cold, felt the awkward silence after handing someone off to the front desk that wasn't trained for this, or just knew deep down that your conversion rate should be higher. All right, you ready? Thanks for sticking with me. Here we go. See, here's what I see happening in hormone clinics all the time, and I really want you to picture this. A new patient finishes their consultation. Provider did an excellent job. The patient is interested, maybe even excited. And then they get walked to the front desk to learn about pricing and what the next steps are. The front desk is also answering the phone, checking in the next patient, processing a payment. There's no privacy. There's no time. And the new patient just stands there waiting, sometimes 10, 15 minutes, just to ask what happens next. And when they finally do get someone's attention, that person is not trained for this conversation. They don't know how to answer nuanced questions about pricing or about hormone therapy. They don't know how to handle hesitation or price objections. And the whole thing happens in a lobby where everybody can hear. And what happens? The patient walks out, confused, uncommitted. And you may never see them again, and they may never get treated. That's how money gets left on the table. And more importantly, that is how lives don't get changed. And it's completely avoidable. Let's talk about why it happens. See, the reason this keeps happening is that most clinics don't have anyone who actually owns the sales process. It feels like a wasteful role. The provider does the clinical work, which is what they should be doing, But then the conversation, the follow-up, the hand-holding through the decision, it falls to whoever's available. Could be the front desk, could be the MA, and whoever is available is not a sales strategy. Hormone therapy is a cash pay, relationship-based service. The decision to start treatment is both emotional and financial, and it requires a real conversation in a private space where someone who is trained, focused, and genuinely invested in helping that person say yes to their own health. And when no one owns that process, leads fall through the cracks, patients get incomplete information and probably pissed off later, and your first impression becomes fragmented and sometimes unprofessional. And here's the kicker. If the patient's first 90 days aren't handled with care, they are much more likely to cancel or just ghost you. And the lifetime value of a hormone patient should be 5 to 10 years. You're not just losing a consult, you're losing years of revenue and years of impact. Now let's talk about the solution. I call it the patient liaison because the fix is buried inside hiring a dedicated person. And in our world, we call this person a patient liaison. You can call them patient coordinator, call them whatever you want. But I want to be clear about what this role does. It's not the front desk and, it's not the medical assistant and, it's not someone who answers the phone and, it's a dedicated, relationship-focused, sales-skilled person whose job is to nurture leads before the consultation, answer pre-consult questions, walk patients through labs and paperwork, not the results, but what they need to be doing, sit down with them after the provider consult, walk them through pricing, treatment plans, what to expect, help them feel confident, cared for, and clear. And when you have that person in place, something really important happens. The provider gets to be the provider. The sacred clinical relationship stays sacred because money and sales are handled by two different people. Are handled by somebody else in a different space, in a different conversation. And that separation matters enormously. So who is this person? Because this is not a hire you want to get wrong. You are not looking for just a warm body that you already have at the front desk, someone who is interested in moving up and thinks it'd be cool to be a salesperson. No, you're looking for someone who is genuinely wired for this kind of work. Here's what that looks like. First, they are driven. They pursue goals with consistency. They don't need constant motivation. They are people they are people oriented. They are energized by conversation and connection, not drained by it. You know what I mean, right? They are money motivated, not greedy. That's not the point, but they're goal oriented. They want to see their effort rewarded. They have an entrepreneurial mindset. They think like an owner. They take responsibility for results. And this is the one I really want you to sit with because they don't need to be medical. Medical knowledge can be taught. Personality, goal-driven people, that stuff can't be taught. Hiring someone who just wants a job won't get you far. You want someone who wants to win and who finds genuine fulfillment in helping people take action toward better health. So who is this person? Because this is not a hire you want to get wrong. You're not just looking for a warm body you already have at the front desk. You're looking for someone who is genuinely wired for this kind of work. So here's what that looks like. They're driven. They pursue goals with consistency. They don't need constant motivation by you or somebody else. They are people who are people-oriented. They're energized by conversations and connection, not drained by it. You know what I mean, right? They're money motivated, not greedy. That's not what I said. They're money motivated. They're goal oriented. They want to see their effort rewarded. They have an entrepreneurial mindset. They think like an owner. They take responsibility for their results. And this is one I want you to sit with. They don't need to be medical. Medical knowledge can be taught. Personality cannot. Hiring someone who just wants a job won't get you far. You want someone who wants to win and someone who genuinely finds fulfillment in helping other people take action toward their better health. One thing to watch for and be really cautious about are candidates who come from insurance-based practices. Now, there's nothing wrong with insurance-based practices, but those environments tend to be very transactional and reactive. You want someone who is proactive. Look instead for backgrounds in high-end hospitality, boutique fitness, wellness coaching, concierge medicine, pharmaceutical sales, anywhere relationship building was the job. Now, once you hire the right person, you've got to set them up. And this is where a lot of clinics drop the ball a second time. Onboarding is not a 2-day shadow shift and a prayer. No. Your new patient liaison needs to understand the full patient journey from lead all the way through to long-term care. They need to understand your services, your pricing, definitely your marketing campaigns, 100% your CRM system, and what happens after someone starts their treatment. They need to role play patient calls before they ever get on a real one. And they need regular coaching and feedback, not once a year, but consistently, especially in the first 90 days. And I want you to compensate them with a base salary plus performance incentives so they have stability and motivation to stay on track. You want to track their metrics, their conversion rates from consults to plan, revenue per month, follow-up activity, patient retention beyond 90 days. That's super important. Use that data to coach them, not punish them. And if you find a great one, invest in keeping them. Talk about their goals. Give them a path for success because replacing a top performing patient liaison is expensive and disruptive in ways that go far beyond the hidden cost. All right, guys, here's the bottom line. As I said, sales is not a dirty word. Sales is a service that you can provide to your patients. It's about helping the right people say yes to the care they need to have extraordinary lives. And that cannot happen if no one owns the process. You do not need a massive team to do this well. You need one great person, a clear role, and the commitment to support them. Now, if you want to go deeper into any of this, there is a full course inside the accelerator, which is about, I think, 3.5 hours. And you can find it inside our accelerator. That's our training platform that you can go to at accelerator.acceleratedmedicalpractices.com. There's that course there's a whole course on building this sales function, including job description templates, onboarding schedules, scripts. And when you sign up, you'll find a few free courses waiting for you. And from there, you can either purchase just the sales course or any individual course that you want. Or what a lot of clinic owners choose to do is you buy a Power Pass, which is a $99 a month pass that gives you access to everything inside the accelerator. Now, if this got you excited about the opportunity of a patient liaison, well, hold on, because next Thursday, I'm going to drop part 2, and that episode is for your patient liaison. It walks them through the full lead to sales journey, from the first call to objection handling to pipeline management, all of it. So once you hire that person, or if you already have somebody, go ahead and send them to that episode. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I really do love sales. It's not that I like sales so much. I love working with people and helping them figure out for themselves what they need and then helping them guide them to the steps that they need to take to get it. And that is why I'm so passionate about this episode and next episode. And I'm the one who built the sales course inside the accelerator. And I have talked through all 3.5 hours and again, put tons of templates in there for you to use so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I hope that you found this valuable. As always, if you did enjoy this episode, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast so that the next one shows up in your podcast list immediately. And, our industry, the hormone and wellness industry, is a community. So if you are listening to this and you were thinking about another provider who owns a practice that you met at a conference or met at a training, you think that they could benefit from this, do them a favor. Go ahead and share this with them. So many great clinics do not have a person who is in charge of their sales because they feel like it's a little icky, like they shouldn't need a salesperson to convince somebody to do a treatment. Hopefully now you see that that's not at all what that means, and it can really benefit not just the growth of your practice, but also your patients. All right, thanks for listening. See you next time. Thank you for listening to Beyond Hormones, the business of wellness. I hope that you're walking away with fresh ideas and real strategies you can use to grow your practice with profit and purpose. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow the show so you never miss a conversation. And if something you heard today resonated with you, do me a favor, share this episode with a friend or a colleague. It's one of the best ways you can support the show, and it might be exactly what they need to hear right now. If you want even more tools and support, go ahead and head over to acceleratedmedicalpractices.com. Until next time, keep doing the work that matters. Your patients need you, and I am cheering you along every step of the way.